all you hear is crickets. Ain't nothing being said. Ain't nothing. Like, please talk about me later, not now. Let me get through this. I got a little bit more. Here we go. I got at the top of here. It says 38 years. There's a passage of scripture where there was an impotent man that lay by the pool Bethesda, I believe it's pronounced, Bethesda. He had an infirmity for 38 years. And he kept getting passed over by others because this pool would be periodically stirred by an angel. I think some readings say that it was Raphael that would come and stir the water. He was known for healing, would stir the water. But the thing is you would only get healed from any disease if you got in while the water was still stirred. Many others got healed, but this man kept getting stepped over. What's important about 38 years? I find in the reading that I've done that 40 years came to mean a new generation. If I round up 38, that's 40 years. A new generation is coming on the scene. Well, what happened within the 40 years? I don't know. But let's say, bear with me in this folly, God was moving some stuff out of the way. Moving some people out of the way. Getting instances in play. Because he had a plan and a purpose to be fulfilled. So he was waiting for a time and a season to transpire before he allowed or brought about the next event. 38 years, 38 years. And here comes Jesus along the scene. He sees the man and he looks at him on a Sabbath day, no doubt. Look it up. I think it's John the 5th chapter. Look it up. He looks at him. He said, "Wilt thou be made whole?" I'm sure after being stepped up. Let me talk about that for a while. Because some of us, we're healers. We went through some of the things that we did. And we just gone on our merry way. None of us look back. That's wrong. I shouldn't say that way. There are instances that we've gotten ours and we don't look back with concern for anybody else. Come on now. All of that time that impotent man laid there at Bethesda, and those that were healed from any disease knew that man, they would see him every time they came around because they was coming around waiting for the water to be stirred. I don't care if they just put the man in position so he could just roll in. Something. But they didn't do that. It took Jesus coming on the scene and asking him the question on a Sabbath day. That was an issue back then. Wilt thou be made whole? He said, well, then take up your bed and walk. Well, why are you saying that? You that's involved in a form of philanthropy. You that's involved in service. You that's involved as a light worker, whatever your title is. You that has different ones coming to you. You don't know how long, oh God, you don't know how long they've been dealing with what they've been dealing with. But now they're in front of you. Here we go. Short and sweet, or sweet, not deep. This is what I have. The quart that now sits before you, or you have the ear of them because of your platform, this is what I was given to ask you to do. Replace them with your child or your nearest kin. Well, Charles, what are you saying? I'm saying this. Proceed as though in your readings, in your light work, in your help to the quart, as though that was your very own child sitting in front of you. And this is what I have down as a pose. Would you have to make any adjustments? Or change the way you do your presentation? Would it now be disrupted? Well, why are you saying that, Charles? Oh, you're striving for the mastery, right? Temperance must come into play. And you got to strive lawfully. I'm trying to help you out. As you proceed, act as though that's your very own child in front of you. Let me tell y'all one thing. If you be honest with me, honest. I'm not challenging your answer right now, but I believe, this is me right now talking. I'm stepping away from the words I wrote on the page. I believe the emotions, especially the female or the divine feminine, talk about me later, there's a special connection with what came out of you. The recommendation here is this: those that set before you either physically, and I'm not really talking about the general readings, I'm talking about the personal readings, or those that listen to you by the ear online, act as though that is your very own family. And the question is this: are there any adjustments you would have to make? Are there any required changes to keep from disruption? Think about it. I have on the side here, it says lots of emotion come into play for yours. That's just what I said. That's just what I said. The flip side of that, I just mess with you about your own, hopefully in a positive way. But now, let's assume it's somebody else's child. I want to put something on y'all's mind. It's somebody else's child. Bear with me in this folly. Whoever sits before you or has their ear to what you're saying, it's somebody else's child. You know, Renee, if we babysit somebody else, you know, there's a certain obligation. There's a certain safety standard. There's a certain viewership that's in play when it's not yours. I wrote down here this second example. Someone else's child is now sitting in front of you. But keep in mind, because I just talked about yours, now this is somebody else's child. However they're before you, whether physically or online, just know that whatever you're bringing forth, their ancestors are right there. Their guides are right there. God hears everything you say and do and present. So I ask the question again. Is there anything you think you would have to change? Or would your presentation be the same? Because either way, one day, we have to give an account for what we've done. I'm moving on. I'm almost finished. Sweet, not deep, or short and sweet. We all look for magic. And I put in parentheses K. Magic. I know it's spelled with a C, but those that's listening to me, you know what I'm talking about, with a K. It says, we all look for the magic that pulls us in or calls us in. Does this magic actually exist? You heard me talk about, you know, the creatives, you know, and how they come to their magic in music, and how could they come to their magic in design, and so on and so forth. The magic, is it a reality? Does this elixir? Sorry, y'all. I'm excited. Talk about me later. Does this elixir even exist? Or is it simply a farce? I wrote down here, there are those of us